Oh man, you gotta love eBay. All the weird shit you can find on there sometimes. This is a copy of Megaman X3, a very rare and expensive game on the Super Nintendo. This is that same game on the Sega Genesis. This game is not supposed to exist for the Sega Genesis. Apparently somebody tried to port Megaman X3 onto that system. And I gotta say, it is amazing. It's amazing because I didn't think a game could make me hate Mega Man as much as this game does. But don't take my word for it, let's find out why. This is the Overstimulation Station. You'll notice that this game is called Rockman X3, which was the game's original title in Japan. But there's nothing Japanese about this cart, so I think they just chose to call it Rockman because fuck it. As soon as you start the game, you're sent directly to the boss selection screen? Unlike in the original games where you must first complete an intro stage. You may notice that there are only 6 Mavericks in this game instead of 8. Yes, that's right, Toxic Seahorse and Blast Hornet were removed, I'm guessing due to the Sega Genesis limited memory capabilities. Strangely enough, they even omitted their bases on the map. So someone had to go in and redraw this map, omitting 2 of the enemy bases. I wish that kind of care was put into the rest of this game. You can choose to play the intro stage from the boss selection screen, though I have absolutely no idea what the point of that would be. But let's just pretend this is a real Mega Man game and select it as our first stage. At first, you might be impressed by how similar the graphics appear to the original Mega Man X3 on the Super Nintendo, but ho-ho! This is where the similarities end. You'll find that nothing is where it is supposed to be in this game. Just in the intro stage alone, Zero doesn't come crashing down from the ceiling like he's supposed to. The colors of the enemies are constantly glitching out. The mid-boss fight is a joke. You forgot some background layer there, buddy. And now we face Blizzard Buffalo for the intro boss? I guess this guy would have taken just too much processing power for the Genesis. Now, even though you have post-hit invincibility in this game, the bosses do not, so you can just keep pumping them full of lemons and they will die very quickly. In fact, no matter what kind of hit you take in this game, it only subtracts 1 sliver of damage, so there's no real motivation for any kind of defensive strategy. Just run through everything and keep shooting. When you're taken back to the boss selection screen, you can see nothing has changed. No grayed out portrait of the level you just defeated, no new power-ups, nothing. But that was just the intro stage, so let's pick an actual Maverick this time and see what happens. As I've said before, nothing is where it is supposed to be in this game. The mech pads are gone, the breakable objects are gone, Dr. Light's capsules are gone, but don't worry, you automatically start off with all the armor enhancements. Or so it appears. The only armor enhancement they actually felt like programming into this game was Mega Man's ability to dash through the air. You can charge Mega Man's beam up past its normal point, but it doesn't actually launch any kind of enhanced blast. Speaking of the charge, you gotta love how it floats away from you when you dash onto the next screen. All the boss doors are missing, so you kind of just saunter up into the boss's chamber while they just sit there and wait for you, I guess. Alright, so after you defeat the Mavericks in this game, you don't even get their power. This has been one of the hallmark features of Mega Man games since the very beginning, and they took that away. Oh, but you still get the blue tanks that refill the energy of the weapons that you would have gotten if this was an actual game that worked. Oh, but that's all just the beginning. You fall through floors, background images are cut in half, there's supposed to be an elevator here, but there's not. Those conveyor belts are supposed to be moving, but they're not. This guy isn't supposed to be hovering in midair, but he is. Anything in this game that required any kind of foreground sprites or that interacted with the environments in any way are gone as well. One thing this game did add that the original game didn't have is horrendous vertical scrolling. Another thing this game added are these borders on every single one of the levels. I guess this was to compress the aspect ratio down to make the graphics look smoother? As a side note that has to be addressed here, the sound in this game is horrific. I know the Sega Genesis sound chip wasn't as powerful as Super Nintendo's, but that's no excuse. The music in Wily Wars sounded good, and that was on a Sega Genesis. But then again, that was also an officially released game, unlike this piece of shit. This game only has about 4 songs that are cycled through the levels, and sometimes the wrong song is used. For instance, Blizzard Buffalo's music being played in Volt Catfish's stage. Speaking of bosses, the music doesn't even change when you enter the boss's chamber. The music from the level just keeps on a-playin'. I never realized how much of an effect that had on the suspense of fighting the boss. You know, in the original game, when the music from the level faded out and the boss music came rushing in. None of that in this game, though. The sound effects don't do much to immerse you in the game either. As I said before multiple times, shit's missing that should really be in these levels. Mainly this part in the quote-unquote final stage, where you run into a shaft that is supposed to have an elevator in it. Now, I thought this game was officially broken at this point. How the hell are you supposed to get up this shaft without a lift of some sort? But after checking the internet, apparently this game gives you the ability to dash upward infinitely. In the original Super Nintendo version, you could only do this upward dash twice. Well, fuck me for thinking this game was being consistent in any way, shape, or form. So you finally get to the end of the Doppler stage, which is really just a beat-for-beat recycling of Volt Catfish's stage, and you battle Tunnel Rhino because of course you do. Nothing else has made sense in this game, so why start now? After defeating the final boss, absolutely nothing happens, and you return back to the selection screen.
This is not a game. A game is something that has rules, objectives, and can be beaten. This plays by its own fucked up glitchy rules, it has no objectives, and it cannot be beaten. All this really is a tech demo for the Sega Genesis. This is a prime example of something that could be done, but probably should not have been done. Did Megaman X3 need a port to the Sega Genesis? Fuck no, it did not. Is it kinda sorta cool that they made something that kinda looked like Mega Man X for the Sega Genesis? Absolutely. Would I recommend this version to anybody? No chance in hell. My name is Josh Cannon. I hope you enjoyed watching. Have a good rest of your night. This is the part where the credits roll. Over there are some more of my videos. Click them now or I'll eat your soul. I made this song up 5 minutes ago. That's why it sucks and it blows. It blows.